What happens when you give TikTok a reality TV show? The D'Amelio Show. Now, what happens when you give TikTok and Mormon wives a reality show? The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Eric, I have a stutter, and I grew up incredibly Catholic. And if you're not new here, what up whores? So I just finished binging The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and we have to talk because there's a lot to unpack, and I feel like this is what reality TV was made for. This is it. We've reached peak TV. Now, if you're not familiar, a few years ago, there was a group on TikTok that became sort of famous for doing silly little dances. And no, I'm not talking about Addison Rae. No, I'm also not talking about Charli D'Amelio. I'm talking about Mom Talk. Mom Talk is a group of moms, Mormon mommies, who I guess started dancing like teenagers and gained notoriety. And I wasn't familiar with them before this show, but I guess I'd say they became famous because they portray this image, this romanticized image of religious women that follow a life of Christ, of tradition, but also have fun along the way. But Mom Talk went viral in 2022 when one of its main members, Taylor Paul, announced her divorce from her husband, Tate Paul, or Paul Tate, or whatever the his name is. She announced a divorce because they were swingers. And according to Taylor, they had a set of rules, which were the other person always has to be in the room, and you're not allowed to go all the way with someone else. But Taylor broke that agreement when she fell in love with a different man, and they decided to call it quits. She also mentioned that several other members of their TikTok group were also involved in the swinging scandal, but she never named any names. And that became like the scandal, right? How are these Mormon wives becoming famous for being Mormon and for following tradition and religion, but also being super fun and dancey? And then here comes one of the members, oh, actually, we've been each other's husbands, which goes against their religion. Again, I'm not making the rules. The rules are their churches. But in all fairness, Mormon swingers in this economy, no. And that somehow landed them a reality TV show with Hulu. Hulu apparently loves to make either very good movies or really trashy reality TV shows, and I live for it. In comes The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Think of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, but with younger mommies, less established, and a little bit crazier. They put out all 8 episodes, and I binged the entire season. I just couldn't stop. And it was not what I expected. I honestly don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. And though most of it is just normal reality TV, stupid drama, there's a lot to talk about in terms of how religion applies to these women and how it conditions them that I think it is important to bring to the forefront to the discussion. So let's get into the show and into the mommies. But before we do, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click that bell notification so you never miss a future upload from me. Also, follow me on my socials, Eric Silver C on Instagram and Stutterbox on TikTok. And yeah, stick around to have a lot of fun because this show is wild. I should start off by saying I'm not a Mormon, but someone described Mormonism as a sexually conservative belief system where chastity is a virtue, homosexuality is a sin, and the father is the presiding authority in his family. Misogyny. And though the point of Mormonism is to have these women marry super young and just pump out kids nonstop and have the man boss them around, it's refreshing to see that so many women in the cast are actually divorced or even single, and they're having children out of wedlock left and right, which is also a sin. And though some are more Mormon than others, there's a Mormon undertone throughout the entire season. So there's 8 members, and there is so much to say about each and every one of them, even the ones that don't necessarily have much of a storyline. Mikayla, I'm looking at you. And one thing that I'm grateful for the show is that they're constantly showing us their name and their ages, because it took me the longest time to tell these women apart, especially Jessi and Demi. In fact, I'm still not convinced that they're not somehow twins, or at least sisters. It was episode 6, and I still could not tell these 2 women apart. But eventually we got there. We got there, and I now know them all by heart, and boy oh boy, there's so much to say about them. And stick around to listen to all of them, because there is one in particular in this cast, Whitney, I'm looking at you, that you may recognize her from a little viral video on TikTok. let's start with the more level-headed, adjusted ones. First off, we have Jessi. Jessi is 31. She has a hair salon business, so she actually has a job outside of TikTok. She's the most modern woman of them all in the sense that she is Mormon. She did practice Mormonism, but she's also a very modern woman that doesn't follow every rule of the church. She definitely has more fun than everybody else. She's not as restrictive with her behaviors, and all the other mommies love to point that out. She's been divorced in the past, but she now has an age-appropriate husband, and they have 3 kids together. Like, these women all have a bunch of kids. She's also had like 3 boob jobs and had a labiaplasty while on the show, which I think is fantastic because they're all against stuff that like damages your body. They're all against putting unnatural things inside of your body, but they're all fine with plastic surgery, which is one thing that they mentioned throughout the show, is that like how funny is it that the Mormon church allows them to undergo plastic surgery without any issues, but then drinking alcohol is like a cardinal sin. Jessi is also very in tune with her feminine energy. She's constantly inviting all the women around to share that femininity and get in touch with their sensuality, which often rubs some of the other moms the wrong way because they're so uptight. But if I had to characterize Jessi out of all of them, I'd say she's like the feminist of the group, her and Demi, which brings me to my next one, Demi. Demi or Demi, I don't know. They call her Demi, so I'm going to call her Demi. Demi is 29, and she's married to a 46-year-old hot man. I'll say he's hot. I would climb that man like a tree. She's super confrontational, and she has no problems in calling you out on your bullshit, which I love. In fact, in episode 4, she just goes off on this other girl, Whitney, and it's just a joy to see. But bringing it back to her husband and their age gap, they're 17 years apart or 16. I'm normally not against an age gap like this when both of them are consenting adults. Like, she's 29, he's 46. She's had time to, develop her brain and develop a personality and live a little bit to know what's out there, until I came across this TikTok of hers. I'm sorry, you guys met when you were 10 and he was 26. Listen, okay, the age gap is one thing, but to know that they met, this is giving very Woody Allen vibes, to know that they met and she was 10 and he was 26. I just, no, against it completely, like, get it out. It's creepy. It's very creepy. Because it's one thing when you're like with your partner and you see pictures of them as a child and you're like, oh my God, you were such a cute kid. It's another thing when you remember that she was a cute kid because you were there as a grown-up meeting the child. And then you're just years later and you get... So though I love Demi, I love everything she stands for. She's a bad bitch. Out of the entire cast, she's the one redeeming ray of light, her and Jessi. But this just... Then there's Mikayla. Mikayla doesn't have much of a storyline through the entire season. In fact, she's kind of just there in the background the entire time until you find out that Mikayla's 23. She has 2 kids, which is incredibly young in my opinion. But she met her husband when she was 16 and he was 21. And they got married when she was 17 and he was 22. And then she pumped out 2 kids between the ages of 17 and 23, and no one says anything about it. No one thinks it's weird. The church doesn't think it's weird. People that go to church and pray for the salvation of God knows what. It's not even the fact that she got married super young and had kids way too young. It's the fact that she met her husband when she was 16 and he was 21. That's grooming because she was a literal teenager and he was a young adult. That is grooming. That's gross. And the fact that the church kind of encourages this because, again, the role of a woman in most religions, at least in this one, apparently is to get married super young and pump out kids as much as possible before she's past her prime. And it's the fact that the church is like not okay with gays because that's like a cardinal sin, get away. But then they're okay with grooming. It's creepy, right? It's really creepy. But as I said, she doesn't really have much of a storyline. I guess they didn't want to shine too much of a light on that because people would probably be a lot more pissed than they already are. And that brings me to my next one. That was a terrible segue, by the way. Mayci. She seems like the most drama-free cast member of them all. She's definitely the voice of reason in the group. She's the one that tries to bring everyone together. She's never like angry at anyone. She never has any disagreements. Even when the entire group turns their back on Whitney, which we'll get to in a minute, she's the one that stays kind of neutral. She's like the Switzerland of the group, and she has such a tight face, like clearest skin in the entire cast. I don't know how she does it. And she's definitely against controlling men. In fact, she's probably the only one that calls out all toxic men that are dating her friends. And the only thing I can say about her is that she launched a brand in this season called Baby Mama, which is products for mothers, for postpartum, prepartum, during partum, just mommy products. And she called it Baby Mama. And I don't know, I was watching and there was something wrong that this white Mormon woman called her brand Baby Mama. It felt slightly racist and icky, but yeah, she has a brand called Baby Mama, so good for you. Oh, also, she had a child with her husband who then passed away back in 2018, which was sad. But then she's remarried, and yeah, she seems very happy in her marriage. She's an avid participant in the church. She seems well-adjusted, apart from that weird brand name. Layla's next. Layla is my favorite of the cast. She's the only black woman in this group of white women, which can't be easy, first and foremost. She's 22. She's divorced, single. She also has 2 kids at 22, which is insane. But worse than that, she's never had an orgasm. Layla, please, if you're listening, you need to do it. You need to find someone that can provide you with that orgasm. And like, this is cruelty, surely, right? Being 22, having popped out 2 humans already, and you've never had an orgasm? Oh my God. Like, girl, go out and get some dick. Get dick down. Or maybe, try women. I'm sure they could give you what men can't, apparently. And I find it interesting. There's an episode where they're talking about this, and she even mentions that every time she's come close to climaxing, she's kind of gotten scared and held back. And that just makes me think that this is the religious oppression that she feels, that she maybe isn't allowed to enjoy sexual pleasure. Almost like the church is telling her that it's okay for her to have children at the ripe age of 20, but she's not allowed to enjoy sex, which is crazy. But I do think that that's what's going on in her mind, that she's not allowed. So whenever she comes close to that, she pulls back, which I think is very sad. Like, no one ever should have a child before having an orgasm. And I don't know what's going on out there, but men, are y'all not giving these women orgasms? What is up with that? Like, what is up with that? Do you just not know how it works? Do you not ask questions like, does this feel good? Does this not? Do you guys not communicate with your partners? Do you not, like, understand how the feminine body works? Please do something. Like, someone please help this woman, because I would jump off a cliff. And the only memorable thing that she does throughout the season is throw a party to celebrate her divorce, and it was quite funny to see her walk out in a black dress, like almost like she's serving. She wasn't, but it was so cute to see. She was really feeling confident in the moment, and I'm glad that she had this opportunity to show the world that she is single and ready to mingle. Now, let's get her to mingle, please. Next is Jen Affleck. She's 24, and yes, she is Ben Affleck's cousin, once removed. She's married to Zac, the blonde b****, and I will get to Zac later in the video because there's this whole section of the season that I want to talk about, but if Zac sees this, I want you to know that you're a b****. Like, you are a b****. You are the definition of a b****. Zac and his family can all honestly rot in hell. He's a misogynistic, controlling man baby that we will get to later, because there's a lot to say about this walking red flag. Jen is the most Mormon of the group. She's definitely very proud of how Mormon she is, of her outfits, of her practices, of her family. She's constantly yapping about it. People even call her out at one point on episode 4, like, you're just rubbing it in people's faces. Like, we get it, you're Mormon. We don't have to constantly hear it. She's also the sole provider of her family. So she has 2 kids with Zac. And not only does she support all of them, but she's also putting him through medical school. Apparently, his dad was a surgeon and his grandfather was a surgeon, and now he wants to be a surgeon. And she's thinking, I'm going to help him now, and when he becomes a surgeon, he's going to take care of me, because that's how Mormons work. The man provides and the woman stays at home taking care of however many kids she can pop out. And Zac is definitely self-conscious over the fact that his wife has to be the breadwinner. I personally don't have anything against a woman supporting her husband if that is her choice, but at least be respectful towards her. Like, have some respect. Well, you should have respect for your wife regardless if she's paying for everything or not. But the fact that she is the sole provider should give you an extra push to being a decent human being, which is not the case. Then we've got Taylor. Taylor is the originator of the mom talk scandal. She's 29, and honestly, she's a health hazard. I don't know what else to say, but after the swinging scandal, she starts dating Dakota. Dakota's this guy that slid into her DMs, and I guess she just was so attracted to him that she couldn't resist. He's an addict, and she's been, I guess, helping him overcome his addiction. He's also very, like, he wants to be Mormon. He doesn't want her to drink, but, like, yo, you're an addict. Like, pump the brakes. And when they start dating, there's this like period of time where he may have cheated on her a couple times with an ex-girlfriend, may have not, and that becomes a point of contention for them both throughout the entire season, where Taylor's constantly like, did you cheat on me? And he's like, no, I didn't. She's like, well, I don't believe you. And it's like, he went out with his friends, then met up with his ex-girlfriend, Jenna, and kissed her. And that was it, according to Dakota. But then rumor has it that he may have slept with her. And Taylor maintains throughout the entire season that if she finds out he slept with Jenna, she's going to leave him. And I call bullshit. I went to their TikTok to find out if they're still together. And I don't know, I was confused by this last one.
He is a liar, as you say?
Well, absolutely.
Why did you work for him?
Savannah, slow down.
Like, what does that mean? Are they together or are they not together? Like, mind you, they shouldn't. They should absolutely not be together. They spend the entire season constantly arguing. Doesn't help that Dakota is the biggest man baby of the show. Yes, even worse than Zac. Here you have Dakota with a heavily pregnant wife in her 3rd trimester, like weeks away from giving birth. And instead of supporting her, because she's obviously super tired probably, and she's like exhausted from having to carry this massive belly around, he's complaining that she's not giving him enough reassurances, all because she doesn't want to get married to him straight away. The season actually starts when she finds out that she's pregnant. And then the episode ends, the pilot ends with her getting arrested for a domestic altercation. They start screaming at each other. She's blackout drunk. The police arrives, take her in. And then episode 2, we do a massive time jump where she's now heavily pregnant, like close to giving birth. They are super toxic. They're constantly fighting the entire season. And she's constantly bringing it up, like, if I find out that you've cheated on me, I'm going to break up with you. And I think that's dumb. Like, if you're with this man in a relationship, it's because you accept whatever has happened. But by holding it against him the entire time, it becomes toxic both for you and for him. So honestly, the best solution for this would be for them to break up. But I don't know, I guess they're still together. Taylor also has a super nosy mom, by the way. She's constantly meddling, forcing her advice on her daughter. There's an episode where she throws a baby shower and a friend doesn't show up, and the mom calls the friend to know what's up. And I'm just like, whoa, like, why are you meddling, ma'am? That's a full grown-ass 29-year-old woman. But I kind of get why the mom is like this, because the daughter is kind of a child. A literal child. She comes across as just immature. She's also not keen on getting married because, again, she had a messy divorce with her swinging husband. And Taylor, I guess, is like the main face of mom talk because she's the one with the most amount of followers. And then we have, last and certainly least, Whitney. Whitney, I think, is the second most followed of this mom talk group. And You may recognize Whitney. Whitney is 30 years old. She has 2 kids and a gay husband. She's better known for a TikTok that went viral. You may recognize it if you see it. Now, I tried to find the original, couldn't. Obviously, she's deleted it and then apologized, but I did find someone who screen recorded it, and here it is. I'm sorry, but let's bring it back. So her baby's in the hospital. He was taken in because of low oxygen. And Whitney is in the room with the baby, filming a dancing TikTok, smiling from ear to ear, just giving that hip swivel like, my baby's in the hospital. He's got low oxygen. Bam, I'm a TikTok mom. I'm laughing because it's funny as First of all, it's hilarious that she literally, her baby was in the hospital fighting for his life, and here she is next to him just doing a little dance on TikTok, and you can see the baby in the frame. Like, look at the... He tested positive for RSV, which I have no clue what RSV is. Let's see, what is RSV? A major respiratory virus that is common over the winter period. So her baby got a virus, a respiratory virus, and she posted this dancing TikTok. Now, there was a lot of backlash against her, understandably, because it's just wrong on so many levels. Like, first of all, your child is in the hospital fighting for his life, and you're filming laughing TikToks with your baby in frame. But then there's an episode when everything comes crashing down, episode 4, when either Demi or Jessi point out that, I think it's Demi, that they did ketamine therapy, which apparently is a thing. And coming out of it, Whitney said that she did this TikTok for clout, likes, and views, and sympathy. Ma'am, I don't think you need sympathy. I think your child just needs health care, which I can see he's getting. So why are we doing a little quirky dance? Like, this is the TikTokification of babies' health. It's wild. It's wild. Now, she's since apologized, deleted the video, tried to move on. She even moved to Hawaii for like 2 months to get away from it. She used Taylor's swinging scandal as an excuse as to why she had to remove herself from the situation, but no. It was actually her husband had a Tinder account and was talking to other women. Now listen, when I was watching this with my boyfriend, we saw her husband, and the first thing that came out of our mouths was, he's gay. I'm not saying there's a stereotypical way of being gay, I'm saying that this man is gay. And I found a TikTok, a little compilation of all his different looks, and I mean, you tell me.
Another one, thank you. 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 Another one, thank you.
Someone said he had all of these different looks to stay incognito from his Grindr hookups, and it honestly makes so much sense. But also, the first time that we see him on screen, he has a mustache, and my boyfriend had a really funny joke that I wanted to share with you guys, because credit where credit is due. Why does Connor only have a mustache? Because his wife's his beard. Someone said that Whitney's punishment for being a horrible human being is having a gay husband, and I cannot unsee it. Again, it's there for y'all to see. Proof is in the pudding. And it was so funny because when she was talking to the girls about the fact that her husband had a Tinder account and was talking to other women, she prefaced this by saying they have this secret, this huge secret to share with people. And I genuinely thought she was going to come out and say, my husband is gay, but we've decided for the sake of religion and our children to stay together because we love each other very much. You know, one of those like very platonic gay and lesbian relationships where they stay together for the sake of religion, but then behind each other's backs, they just like anyone that they want. That's what I thought they had, an arrangement where he gets to take it up the butt and she gets to eat women out. That's my other theory, is that Whitney is secretly probably a lesbian. Also, at the end of the season, Whitney announced her new pregnancy because she got pregnant again, 3rd child. She announced it by putting her pee stick, the literal pee stick, the pregnancy test, inside a cake. that her father then cut open in a restaurant. I get announcing your pregnancy in like a fresh and fun way that catches everyone by surprise, but putting the pea stick inside a cake. I would have been so mad if I was part of this family group and the cake came out and I was like, oh, so excited to have cake. Oh, wait, no, I'll have to drink Whitney's piss if I want some cake. That is just mean. That is rude. That is that is the real health hazard of the season. There's a small storyline in the season where she's offered $20,000 just to post a picture of her holding a sex toy on her Instagram. Now, I would have posted so many pictures. I would have posted it on my story. I would have promoted it across all my socials. But Whitney's having this internal debate, like, should I promote a sex toy, which goes against my church? Should I not? First of all, why is this church against anything that's fun? Like, they're not allowed to do drugs or drink alcohol or gamble or have sex before marriage. I guess now sex toys are also out of the equation. How do these women survive? Surely having children is not enough for the rest of your life, because those kids are going to have lives of their own. At one point, they're going to leave oh no, I guess that's why they have like 2, 3, 4, and 5, because then like one leaves the home, but you've got a bunch others to take care of. Sure. Okay. But I bring this up because she was so hesitant to post a picture on Instagram, and now you go to her TikTok and she's just fully posting videos promoting sex toys and saying,
I started using this Layla like a few weeks ago. I am obsessed. And look how she's cute. It's made from premium body safe silicone and it's completely waterproof. Woo! You know what else I just learned? That obviously they help with our physical health, but they also help with our mental health. That's what I'm talking about. Ladies, there's no shame in wanting to use this. Absolutely zero. Love yourself, treat yourself. And you know what? Go get this Layla Sauna 2 Cruise for you. For you. For you.
And I agree. There is no shame. But it is funny to see her so torn between posting a picture or not, and now she's just making videos about it. I wonder how much she got paid to post that video on TikTok. I don't even want to know. I guess it's the modernization of the Mormon woman. Also, they don't drink alcohol. Instead, they indulge in these massive drinks every day. And I just pity their health when they reach 50, because this is just a mountain of problems waiting to happen. Most of the season is just them living their lives, and like we get to know them here and there, but there's like 2 incidents that are like the major pivots in the story. Episode 4, we've got Demi's birthday. They go away to this like penthouse in the middle of nowhere, and they play this game called the Honest Box, where you write a question anonymously, put it in a box, and then someone reads it out loud and the group responds. And what started off as a little silly game to try and bring Whitney and Taylor together, because Whitney stopped talking to Taylor, God knows why, turned into an all-out war that led to like a separation of the group into 2 groups: the sinners, Taylor, Jessi, Demi, and Layla, and the saints, Whitney, Mayci, Mikayla, and Jen. God, remembering all these names is really difficult. And one notable thing I'd like to bring attention to is Whitney is the most manipulative member of the cast. She has a tendency to befriend different people, get some dirt on them, and then just spread it through the rest of the group. She makes everything about herself, right? Everything is about her. And anytime that someone confronts her, what does she do? She turns on those white tears. Literally every single time that someone tries to confront her about her bad behavior or about her jokes and poor taste, she just switches on those tears and just, makes herself the victim. That is such a dangerous type of woman, because no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how evil she is in the situation, she's always going to frame herself as the victim, as the person who was attacked. And even though episode 4 sees a divide in the group, eventually they all kind of realize that Whitney is super toxic, so they kind of all get away from Whitney, except for Mayci. Macy's the only one that stays friends with her. Remember, the drama-free girl that just has no bad blood with anyone. But then Whitney leaves their mom talk group, and it sort of becomes Whitney versus everyone else. And every time I see them arguing, I'm just thinking, if I was in that friend group, anytime that Whitney tried to argue with anyone, I'd just be like, hey, Whitney, Don't you have a video to make in the hospital room of your baby? That is something you'll never live down. Whitney even has the nerve to say that she felt like people forgave Taylor for her swinging drama a lot quicker than for her hospital video. She wants to compare the two as if you forgive Taylor, you have to forgive her. It's crazy. It's wild. But moving on to that, let's get into Zac the big because I've got so much beef with this blonde bitch. I swear I hate this man. I genuinely hate Zac and I hate his entire family. So let's put it into context. Jen is supporting her family, her kids, and Zac, and is putting Zac through medical school. Zac has a rich family. His dad was a surgeon, his grandpa was a surgeon. We even see when they have the baby blessing at his dad's house. Honestly, that was scary. It looked like the intro to a white cult where all the men hold the power because they are seen as the leading figures of the family. So like the men are blessing the child while the women are sat down away from the circle because they're not seen as the leading figures of the family. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And towards the end of the season, they all go to Vegas for the weekend, organized by Jessi, fresh out of her labiaplasty. They all go to Vegas for the weekend. And Dakota and Zac insist on going. Dakota because he wants to be close to Taylor in case she goes into labor, because at this point Taylor is like 17 days away from her due date. And Zac goes because he is an insecure little man with the tiniest microscopic you'll ever see, or not, because it's so tiny you couldn't find it. Everyone like kind of points out that Zac is super controlling, and this is obviously him trying to control Jen, his wife, from doing whatever she wants. And to make matters worse, Zac has a gambling addiction. Gambling is against the church. Now, Zac's parents gave him a chunk of money to help put him through medical school. A chunk of money that he very quickly spent on gambling. Then, before they go to Vegas, Zac has the nerve to ask Jen for some money to go gambling. And Jen is like, well, of course he has to ask me for money because he doesn't have a job. And she gives him money. And then while in Vegas, Jessi, the most like liberal of the group, I'd say, organizes a little event for everyone. But she doesn't tell anyone what it is until they get there. And the event is a Chippendales show. If you don't know what Chippendales is, it's like a strip show in Vegas. And they get there, and Jessi even got them VIP passes so they can go backstage and meet the dancers, all because she wanted Layla, the single one of the group, to loosen up, to have some fun. They even get Layla to oil up all of these hot dancers, which is great for her. She's clearly having fun. Everyone in the group is having fun by the time they get there. Some are apprehensive about what their husbands are going to say. And by some, I mean Taylor and Jen. Jen is worried about Zac because Zac is a control freak. And Taylor is kind of worried about Dakota, but at this point, they're fighting over everything and anything that she doesn't even care anymore. Mind you, behind the scenes, no one is touching the dancers except for Layla. Everyone is just like around laughing, having a laugh. And Jen in the corner is just like, I feel so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know where to put myself. Like, do I leave? Like, do I stay? Like, this is something that my husband will probably divorce me for. And it was just a car crash from then onwards. Like, the women knew that her husband was controlling, but to this extent, no. Because she tells him, we're going to Chippendales. And he's like, oh, okay. He's kind of okay with it. And then he starts blowing up her phone. Blowing up her phone, like calling her disgusting, saying that he doesn't love her anymore. He doesn't want to be with her if she's going to act like this. He doesn't understand why she would put herself in that situation. And if this is who she is, then he's going to divorce her. Meanwhile, Jen is like, but like all of my friends are here and their husbands were okay with it. And he's like, oh, why are you comparing us with all of these couples I would want to be nothing like? And then he starts insulting all the couples like, that one is married to a 50-year-old. That one is a 22 single mom. That one walks all over her boyfriend. The other one isn't even married, is having a child out of wedlock. Eventually, Jen leaves, and then she's home texting Zac, and the other girls are like trying to console her, like, you did nothing wrong. She never touched the dancers. She took a group picture. She was in the middle, clearly visibly uncomfortable. And the entire time I'm thinking, is she uncomfortable because of her own beliefs or because she is scared of what Zac is going to say? And then Zac at 2 a.m. sends her his location and is like, if you don't meet me now, we're done. I'm leaving you and I'm taking the kids. As if he can afford to take the kids. You don't have a job, buddy. Oh, but his family's rich, so I guess now they can pitch in. And Jen leaves the house at 2 a.m. to go meet him. The fact that, first of all, he would force, basically, his wife to go out into the night in a city that she doesn't know, in Las Vegas of all places, by herself. And the fact that her friends let her leave the house at 2 a.m. What is wrong with these women? Like, what is wrong with them? Wild. And then after a whole day gone missing, she comes back and is like, yeah, no, me and Zac are super fine. That was a conversation that we needed to have for so long. He apologized. He feels really bad about the way he treated me. And they're like, Jen, if you're over it so quickly, that means that this is like a common occurrence. And then Jessi and Demi start laying it thick like Zac is an ass. He's a toxic abuser, not to mention that he insulted all of our marriages, but like, you did nothing wrong and he's calling you disgusting, saying he doesn't love you, that he's gonna take the kids, and you're here acting like it's all normal. Clearly it's not, and it's happening all the time. And Jen starts crying like it's hard to hear all my friends validate the feelings I'm feeling. But she doesn't leave him. She stays with him. Not only does she stay with him, but in the last episode, we find out that her husband got accepted into medical school in New York, which was one of the top choices that he had. And she's like, maybe we need to take a year off because I don't think that I can just like up and leave to New York. Like, I can't just go to New York and leave mom talk. What if my engagement goes down and then, I stop having that income that supports us both? And he's like, I hear you. I'm happy with all of that. I just don't really care. You don't care that your wife, the breadwinner of your family, is gonna lose her literal income. What? And if that wasn't bad enough, in the last episode, we find out that she moved to New York with him and she's left mom talk because he's a controlling, psychotic freak. And apparently now, Zac's family is dragging her through the mud online. Zac, you're a bitch. You're a It's an abusive relationship. It's a toxic relationship. And a lot of them keep pointing out that Zac is the stereotypical Mormon man of faith. He is what women expect men to be in their religion, and they're all like super grossed out about it, which just goes to show that, first of all, y'all don't like being Mormons, and that's great. Just say that. Leave the church. But also the fact that the only man that actually follows the Mormon religion to a T is also the most toxic piece of shit that we've seen on this show. The way he treats Jen, the way he blew up on her and started insulting her and her character and demeaning their entire relationship just because she saw a strip show. Like, is she meant to punch herself in the eyes anytime that a naked man is in front of her? Does she go to the beach? Is she allowed to be at the beach? Or does she have to go blindfolded? Is she allowed to watch movies or is she only allowed to watch cartoons? Because what if there's a shirtless man on screen? What is she going to do? Is she going to sin by seeing them? Like, God forbid. God forbid. Sorry, I'm really heated because I just hate men like this with such a passion. And it's so blatantly obvious for everyone that Zac is a piece of shit. He's a blonde bitch. He's a and she's just with him. She's just so brainwashed by the religion that her response was like, yeah, I know that he's a bit of a narcissist and we're having all these issues, but like, who's to say that a different marriage wouldn't be worse? Ma'am, that is not the question that you should be asking. The question shouldn't be, oh, maybe in a different marriage it would be worse, so I'm just gonna stay with this piece of shit. No marriage should be like that. You should be supported and loved unconditionally. That's the entire point of a marriage. God, y'all need to leave that religion, man, because this tweet, someone said, I am learning more Secret Lives of Mormon Wives drama. Apparently now Zac's family has taken to social media to start trashing Jen. The entire Affleck family will crumble. Anyone who watches this show, how can you come to the conclusion that Jen is the problem? Jen is literally a saint, a suffering saint, a martyr for still being with this man, who, by the way, his shade of blonde scares me. His shade of white scares me. It just scares me because he's this shade and then he acts like this. Can we spell white supremacy? Another one said, Jen, blink twice if you need help. Zac is a piece of shit. She hands him $2,500 to blow on gambling, which isn't allowed in the Mormon church, by the way. And he calls and makes his wife bawl because of a Chip and Dale show. Zac, you are abusive and insecure. Because that's what's even crazier about the story is that Zac is literally gambling. That is a literal cardinal sin. And you're giving your wife shit for going to a show? Oh my God, if I ever see Zac in front of me, I am pushing him into oncoming traffic. Zac is a bitch. It's a like, go to the dictionary, look up the word bitch. And Zac's picture is there, I bet. And that's basically the gist of this series. It's wild. It's crazy. I hope they renew it for a second season. And I hope that Jen has divorced Zac's ass, because that man deserves nothing but solitude and misery and unhappiness. And his family, who's trashing Jen online, y'all need to go burn in hell as well. I've said it. I don't care. Mormons, come for me. What are you going to do? You're not going to do worse than the Catholics did to my mind growing up. So give me your best shot. And what this user said about the men really sums up my feelings. Zac is broke, controlling, and addicted to gambling. Dakota is unfaithful, abusive, and addicted to lying. Connor is unfaithful, closeted, and addicted to pornography. Jace is a predator who married a 16-year-old. These women need to be set free immediately. And that's pretty much it. That is it. Yeah. Oh my God. Let me know what you guys thought of the series. If you've watched it, if you haven't, are you going to? Please do. Because it's so juicy, but also so bad and so good. It's crazy. It's what reality TV was invented for. And I think with that, we've reached the end of this video. We've gone through a lot of these people. Definitely need a break from this. My God. If any of you see Connor on Grindr, hit him up. Tell him that we support him in coming out. We even support him if he stays with Whitney, who's probably also going to come out as a lesbian. Mark my words, they're each other's beards, and they're going to carry each other to the tomb. And with all that said, thank you so much for tuning in. If you lasted this long, damn, thank you. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, click that bell notification. Also, comment down below your favorite part of the show or of the video. What had you the most gagged? And will you be tuning in if they renew it for a second season? Hope you stick around for more videos. And until then, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.